getting in the radiator for bruising it, mudding it up and everything else. So I understand where he's coming from on it, because you see how big the fender is opened up there, so the mud could splash up pretty easy. But I could see it in the way.
BP phrased it back in 1911.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we get it up here half the year. Either you're in mud, snow, a hard pack, right? So you got to have it in the wintertime as well. Because a lot of these things was for doctors, veterinaries, and like postmen get around in, is where these people come up with these ideas. Now this is a conversion kit to convert your automobile instead of making a whole new one.
Springfield Body, Maine factory.
I cannot find out the location of the Maine factory, but the Springfield, Massachusetts company had this listed in their catalog as being made in the Maine factory. And I can just, that's what we have on it.
Stock certificate for the combination tail light and illuminated automobile number corporation.
You just see that this collection just keeps going and going. And I have no idea how. At first I thought this was a one-of-a-kind, wow. But more research indicated that either you bought a kit or you bought the patent to make this on a Model, it's on a Model T. And once a year, they would all gather out at Ward's Kodak filling station in Washington, Pennsylvania. The next slide you'll see is the station, and the gas pumps look like Kodak rolls of film. And you see the other, see the little cars running around? Now you get an idea why I'm so crazy over it. Just learn one day after another, just something different.
Was it just a joke that they did that? Or?
No, it was advertising for that photograph.
Oh,
It was all photographers.
William J. Road, Portland, and Westbrook plow.
The illustration shows a Fordson tractor on lags in back of it, inside it. But it's all wood frame, snowplow, wing. It's nothing primitive. See, most snow plowing in the state really didn't take off until about 1928. It was a little bit before that, but 28 I think is the year that most roads were opened up.
Because they used to roll it.
Yes.
We might talk about that. People might not know.
I bet everybody in the room knows about rolling snow. But I missed that one.
Sergeant Clay snowplows.
He had several patents for snow plows. The catalog is quite interesting to look at.
A Sutherland and Caribou, different patents for.
The first one is a radiator gauge to indicate the level of the water. Applied for 1924, granted August 10th, 1926. The second one is a pressure gauge to screw on your tire, like this one. You screw it onto the valve stem, and it indicates the pressure. So you could just walk around your car and say, yep, I got my 50 pounds, yep, got my 50, got my 50, go around the car. Today, if you check the gauge, you have to take a cap off, you put the gauge on, put the cap back on, like that. This just eliminated all that labor, and there it was. I keep thinking of how everything was fancy, a touch of class. Instead of wiping the mud off, taking that valve cap off, putting the gauge on, this was class, like we don't have today, in my opinion. You know, but we did back then. And I liked it back that way.
Pumps manufacturing in Belfast, 1926.
clamp it onto your steering column. Here's your 4 buttons, and here's your sign for left, right, ahead, or stop. Trucks, buses, for your own car, I don't know. I cannot find an ad for it anywhere. I know 2 of these exist, and that's all, and it was made in Belfast, Maine. But it's kind of different.
Horace Whitney Portland, patent for a tire tester.
Yeah, most of us had bicycles when we was growing up and like that. You'd fill it with water and put your tube in there to see where it leaked. Well, I've never saw one with a hook on it to keep the tube up on top. So as you're pushing the bottom down, that top of that inner tube can right down the back of your head. And if you'd already come around with it and tested it in there and put that wet top spot up on top, then that water was on your head, back of your neck. I'm keep looking for one of these. I want one of those.
Donald Woodworth, Auburn, 1918, for a tire opener.
And this is one in real life. I have 4 or 5 of them. But it's to open the tire up to put a blowout patch inside or examine to see if it's a crack inside. With these old tires, if you hit a sharp rock, you're more apt to split the inside of the tire where you couldn't see it. It wouldn't split the outside. As the tire bounced over the sharp rock, it kind of didn't penetrate the tire as much as the inside of the tire wasn't as strong as the outside. It would crack the inside. So you have to examine it and see what the problem was and put your patch in.
Might have assumed that there was no cords in these tires, they were just plain rubber, period.
Nothing like today, cords. Yes, there were some, but they cut awfully easy. They were cotton. You know, there was none of this fancy stuff we have today. It was just cotton thread in there. And like I said, a sharp stone would break it easily.
Yeah.
R.C. Blake, South Portland, 1935, a patent for a garage door opener.
Yeah. Yeah, 1935. I mean, how many in the room have electric door opener when they get home? Yeah. Well, you didn't think somebody had one in 1935, did you? Drive on that platform, the door opens, and you drive in.
Oh, these are so creative. It's incredible.
It is. That's the whole thing. It keeps
So
me
early.
going. Yeah.
So early.
Because I love early advertising with a picture of an automobile on it. It adds to it. And like that, we're talking about 1906, 1907.
Early hunting and fishing, camping in Maine and Quebec. Deer.
These people came from New Jersey to come up here, to go touring up here, hunting, fishing, camping out. We have a slew of pictures and information on this tour. They went up into Canada and they wanted to go from point A to point B, and they cut a road right through the forest so they could get to where they wanted to go.
Automobiles are hereby forbidden running through the village at a speed exceeding 8 miles per hour. Lost in 1905. Another stock certificate that was never issued. A toll bridge in Dixfield. We don't know the date, do you?
No. It was there for many years. I'll try to ask Bill. He's on the board down there. He could come up with some numbers.
Auto racing, Thermal Hill in Poland, 1911.
Where is Thurlowville?
You know where Chipman Farms is?
No.
If you go up to where Chipman Farms is and take a right and go down the causeway of the 2 lakes, that is Thurlow Hill.
Okay.
In fact, as you take the corner to the right, Chipman has quite a field